So while you were gone, I really boogered things up. Those are the 2 piston rings, or what's left of them, as I try to install them. So let's see how well I recover. So I got some piston rings. That's the part number. Good luck, right? Let's see what happens. Let me get this on without having to ruin them. Okay, so now this is what I know, right? Pistons and piston rings are interesting because they come in a different. They do a couple. So this one's going to be hard to see. I didn't think about the difficulties of this. This is where I wish I had a macro lens camera. You know, I want to show you something. I think you need a lot of light to see it though. So, okay, this is what the greenhorn did. So you don't want to do what I did. It's the mistake. Easily avoidable, right? Okay, so right here on the piston itself. No, let me zoom back out. Okay. The piston itself has these little grooves, right? And these grooves are very. They are. Trying to find a tool. Pointing tool. Here we go. So the piston itself, piston itself has grooves. See how that doesn't slide anymore? That bumps up to there, right? This is where the piston ring goes to. There's another one on the top ring right here. Right? You need to make sure your rings go to right there and stop. Okay, so let's see how well we do. If we can get these on without breaking them. All right. I think in general you can just take your time. It should work. I took the gloves off just to make sure my dexterity is not compromised. Again, I'm searching for the. Just be mindful of the actual top parts of the ring. You know, the risk-averse person in me tells me I should have purchased 4 rings instead of 1. Oh, there we go. Right here. The reason why it's because, you know, when you mess up, put the bottom ring on first. Actually, sorry about that. Why sorry? We're just doing stuff. Anyway, I was not a big fan of people that keep saying sorry because you're not at fault. Now the ring has an interesting shape to it. You need to be careful with. There's a flat side and there's a curved side. The flat side sits down. The curved side's at the top. You know. So I should just slide that on there. Be careful. These things are very, 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 very delicate. Right. And I did not know that. Let's double check in. That's where the, yeah, okay. So that sits right there. 1 down. 1 more to go. Hold your breath, people. So we know that this will probably be somewhere, okay, right in there. Remember, the flat side is down, the curved side is up. I'll give you a link to a supplier that specializes in rings. So when you're in a bind like this, you know, because they don't usually make these things easy for you to figure out. Okay, that's there. And what that does is it really sets you up for failure, because it makes you want to. They want you to buy the whole engine block. This is a small block. So that's there and that's that. Alright. So instead of fighting with this, I'm going to go ahead and, just how I broke it, I'm going to get a specialty tool for this same application, and we'll continue from there. Now you can proceed without this tool. You know, it's Canadian, eh? These parts, it's a really cool tool. It comes with these pieces. That, I'm not sure what that does yet. Let's see, I'll read it with you now. It says, I'm sorry, this is a Little Red Barn Husqvarna still cylinder installation. That's what this is. This entire tool is. That's what it's called. Little Red Barn. All right. Here's. Oh, that's great. Anyway, here's the. Can you see that? It's going to be in the description also. So, but either way. Oh. Yeah, that's better. Got it? Okay. So this is specifically for small engines and placing the pistons back in. And it comes with these pieces, these rings here. And these are available for larger motor vehicles, larger like cars and trucks and tractors. So they won't fit. You have to measure the diameter, right? So this fits for these smaller things. This piece here does the same thing what you would do with a rope when you stick in a piston to cylinder to jam it from moving. That's what these are for. Okay, so I'm not using any of these, so I'll put them to the side and play around with them later. Okay, so first thing you do, you take this part, slide underneath the piston right here to keep it in position. Okay, then you find which one of these work. So you see they come in different sizes. Right. Okay, so this is the one. The smallest one is the one that works. Okay. Now again, you don't have to have this tool to do this. I got it because I'm going to do a little bit more piston work on some other small engines, and you know, there's a tool for everything, and as long as you have the budget, you might as well just do it. Okay, so double check, make sure the rings are lined up. So, because when you compress, they need to have some space to go. If they don't have any space, then you're going to crush the ring and break it. Okay, that looks good. I take this, slide it over like that, and squeeze it down. Just like that. Make sure, again, let me just. Kind of paranoid, and you can tell, but so you damage a piston ring, your project just comes to a stop. It's super frustrating. And so I'm going to cover up the those parts. There you go. Okay, good. So we have a tight compression. I should be able to. Now, in here, so I've had the hardest time getting these pistons back in, and broken 3 of them so far. So it's been a doozy. Let's see if we can actually get it in this time, right? So I'm going all out here. I'm pretty much as textbook as possible. So I've got this, it's a lubricant to help you assemble things, right? Got my piston clip guide. I did some thermal displacement on this So this has been in the freezer for an hour. I just want to make this a little smaller. And I've got some more piston rings because I broke that piston ring, the bottom one. And I bought two just in case I break it again. So you're gonna watch me do this, all right? And hopefully I won't break it. First thing I'm gonna do, I need to, I want to show you something about the calculated if these piston rings are going to actually work or not. So what you want to do, you want to insert them into the actual cylinder head itself. You know, like that. You're just trying to see and look for the kind of, look and see what kind of clearance they're getting. You know. So, again, these things are super fragile, so don't go too crazy. Okay. So that's what I'm getting. I don't know if you can see that. Might need a little light. Which I do own. Okay, 1 second. Can you see that? So that's how much that thing closes up at the bottom right there. So this piston ring is super good with regards to its fit. Okay? Alright, now that we established that will work, it does fit, right? Let's work with time, because things are, there's some thermal displacement that's happening I need to keep in my favor, right? Alright, so get my lube here. Very, very thick. The viscosity is super thick. Could be real generous with this. I just need to get this thing started, you know. Okay, so I got that done, right? Perfect. Right, the next thing I want to do is get this ring on. Now, I have to line up. Oh wait, not even. This is where I messed up the last time. So this gasket here, need to make sure that that's on. Last time I put this thing on and it was not right at all. Okay, there you go. So gaskets sit there, because once that's in, you don't want to have to pull it back and forth out. Right, I'm thinking it would be a good idea to also throw a little bit of lube. Actually, no, but do it after. So we're gonna take this ring. I'm gonna try to slide it on past the other ring. So remember, don't go too crazy on this. If it feels like it's too much pressure, you might break it. That's exactly what we don't want. You just don't want to break this thing. Okay, so that's on. I gotta hurry up, it's condensing. Some condensation's happening. Okay, I don't know if that's going to increase the coefficient of friction. Alright, let's get some lube here, lube there. All right. Okay, so I need to line up the spaces. So this has grooves. I need to get those grooves. There you go. There's a little stopper pin right there. I need to find the one for the top also. Okay. So those need to be in the middle of that. So just use your pick to make sure. Okay, the rings align. Alright, so now we place this here. Okay, this magneto part helps you know what to do. So this is going to line up, the magneto sits there, so it's going to line up on this side, along the side of the shaft. All right, sure to squeeze this down. Okay, so it's all the way down, right? Put that on. We have two T27 bolts. They look like this that hold the cylinder block in place. Now, here's something that's important to understand about two-stroke engines. This bottom part right here, it's supposed to be pretty much airtight because you don't want any air to leak in there. This is why this gasket is so important. I couldn't find it, so I had to use, you saw what I did. And it really needs to be sealed. If you don't, you'll get blow-by, and air will get into this like cylinder area, and it will cause the engine to misfire. You'll wonder why it's not running properly. Could be a lot of symptoms that lead up to that. Lack of power, all those things. Okay, so these are T27s. So I had the weirdest conversation about feminism, I think, today. I think it's feminism. Yeah, this woman was very openly expressing her feelings on gender roles. So I gave her an example of a situation where I helped a woman with her car, and this woman was stranded by the side of the road, and it was one of those situations where she was waiting for her husband to come and help her, And I was like, okay, fair enough. That's cool. So I oh boy. That does not look right. The gasket is not, it's not on there correctly. Yeah, it's definitely not. Oh boy, don't tell me I messed that up again. Let's see. Is that, yeah, see what's happening? Totally blundered that one. The hole for the thread is there. So this gasket is not on correctly. Alright, here we go. Oh boy. Pull this back out without breaking it. That's going to be a chore. I might break this already, so watch. Come on, don't break it. Yeah! Oh my god, I didn't break it. That's crazy talk. Alright. This has been a pain in my tuchus, just to say the least. Well, anyway, so the other day, right, I was driving, I'll tell you the story, and this woman was pulled over to the side of the road, and I could tell that she was trying to, like, replace the tire, or flat tire. So, I decided I'd pull over and help her. Now, in doing this, part of my goal was just to help her, to teach her how to, like, fix her own flat, right? That's it. I'm going to help her fix her own flat. Now, what's important to understand is this all started because I'm sorry, I guess let me go back a little bit more. So I pulled over, I helped her, right? I got out the car and asked her, does she need, I mean, I didn't get out the car because that's too threatening, even though it's during the day, but you know, people are a little weird like that. And me being a male, darker of skin color, and America, all the weird shit that goes down with like looking the way I look, right? You have to take a lot of precaution with how you, even though you're trying to help people. So I stay in my car, not to be a threat, and I ask her, you know, if I can help her. She decided that she wouldn't mind, and because her husband's gonna come and help, but he's not gonna be there for some time. So, you know, again, I gave her the opportunity to say no, you know. So I hopped out the car, and I proceeded to help her. Now, I didn't help her in a way that, like, you know, like people help you sometimes and they don't teach you anything. That was not my goal. She turned every single bolt. She did all of the things. She helped herself, you know, she jacked it up. I showed her where the hard points were on the car. You know, basically the kind of stuff you do when you really want to help somebody help themselves, you know. I gave her the price of the actual tool to the jack, my hydraulic jack, and she was so happy. I mean, she's because, you know, she was like thinking that she's probably going to be there for a while, and you know, and here comes this perfect stranger in the middle of the day helping this woman, and it was just out of her radar, basically, is what happened, you know. So that was exciting, right? She felt extremely like you know, full of gratitude, and I was like, okay, hey, listen, you know, thanks for letting me help you, because, you know, gratitude doesn't work because you gave it. It has to be something that is received and thanked for by the recipient. That kind of closes up the circle of gratitude, I call it. Other than that, it's just a gratitude circle that's not closed, which is pointless. So she was like super happy, and you know, I was even happier because it was like, well, here you are, no longer a victim to your situation, and now you have information to help you out, you know. So how nice and generous could that be? Like, nothing beats that. And so she was like, just so, you know, you can just see how flush she was with gratitude, and I was just like, man, this is a good day, you know. I was on a high, I helped somebody, I was in service to others. You know, nothing really beats that, to be honest with you. And so now here I am, right? My friend posts this what I consider highly inflammatory observation about men's jobs. Men's jobs. So men should only do these things, and women should not do these kind of jobs because they're dirty jobs. I was just like shaking my head. I was like, what the hell is she talking about? Right? Dirty jobs. And what jobs? I asked her for a list, right? What kind of jobs does she consider like jobs that women shouldn't do, that are so specific? Right? And she gave me a list. She gave me a short list. Okay, that's fine. It's like fine. Now, a list included things such as electrician. I was like, electrician? Well, interesting, electrician. And then she said, after she went off the deep end about electricians, she said, oh yeah, her list also included plumbers. Right? And I was just kind of like confused. I was like, what the hell is she talking about? These are just jobs, right? There's nothing specific to those professions or trades, whichever you want to call it, right? That makes women or men particularly better at it. There just isn't any, you know. And she was just like so hell bent. I asked her, you know, to explain to me pre-epochal period when there was no plumbing, right? And there was no deity to write into dogma transcribed by human beings. The plumbing of this city will be something that men only do, you know, so there's no religious argument that she can stand on, right? All she has is a social construct and her feelings, right? And her feelings is not a scientific conclusion, it's just her feelings. So I asked her multiple times to like look at this conclusion that she's coming up with, you know, because I just wanted to have her see how peculiar it is that she feels so strongly that these are jobs that women and men should do, like gendered jobs. It was absurd, right? And it was hard for me because, you know, I'm hoping that she can see that her conclusions are based on absolutely nothing. Like, there's nothing about her conclusion that says like, oh yeah, hey, listen, this actually makes sense, and it's something that lives outside of the spectrum of my feelings. You know? No, she couldn't do that because plumbing has nothing to do with like gender. Plumbing has to do with like privilege, innovation, management of like waste that is fairly problematic when it comes to creating unsanitary conditions, which causes illnesses. That's plumbing. That's how plumbing came up. You know, it was because there's a high amount of population density in areas such as cities and suburbs that needed to have a solution. That's it. That's what plumbing is for, right? And then you also have the need, the privilege, right, of having water on demand, fresh, clean water. That's it. It's like, I was just like, whoa, I mean, like, really, woman, this is your analysis? This is what you're gonna offer the world as your conclusion? So I was just like, so like torn to pieces by this like assessment. It's like, there's no way she actually feels that. The truth is, she does feel that. That actually is her reality, right? Okay, fair enough. So I asked her to just see that her ideas, right, are things that they don't have any like substance that go past her feelings, and her conclusions are just, you know, I don't know what to say other than like feel good feelings. You know how that goes, right? Nowhere. Because conversations like that start to fall apart when you look at the idea of liberties. You know, what are your liberties? What liberties do you have? And where do you think they came from? You know? So I started to ask her questions regarding her educational experiences, primary, secondary, tertiary. Are these all part of the things that she experienced, had access to, right? And my point is, right, I'm trying to get her to understand that this conversation about feminism, right, even feminists sometimes get it wrong, and non-practicing feminists get it wrong too. This is about choice, to have a choice to do things. Not a mandate for you to do stuff, but a choice to do things. That's it. Very different, you know? And that's where the conversation was just falling apart. And this is social media on like Facebook, so I'm in a big ditto chamber, you know? And some other people chimed in. And it was awesome when they did, because, you know, just wasn't so alone anymore trying to like tackle this topic. All right, we got the magneto. Let's throw that on there. Magneto has the this at the top to ground it out, which goes like that. Yeah. Anyway, so you know, this is social media, and when you're on Facebook, you know, it's dangerous because your group, the people that believe they're doing you a favor. I have two of those. by agreeing with you, the conversation is just not good. It's unhealthy. It doesn't lead to any sort of like important conclusions that's of value. It just does weird things, And if you look around you, right, Facebook it's like a free-for-all when it comes to irrational discourse, It's bad enough people are irrational, but it's bad when you get them together and they can just say whatever the hell they want, That's an issue right there with Facebook itself. So, I clarified for her that, well, I didn't clarify because she didn't understand. She kept on, it was like she was trapped in a feedback loop saying that these are dirty jobs. At one point I asked her, like, define dirty job. Let me hear what's your definition of a dirty job? Because I was just so confused. It was like, a dirty job? Of course she didn't answer the question, right? Why would you? And then it got to a point, right, where she openly expressed that she feels like she's being attacked. So, I had to, like, immediately, right, autocorrect and like, because, in my world, I'm just having I'm experiencing discourse. I'm just trying to look at things critically and show you that your thoughts, right, you need to look and see how you develop them, how they came to be truths in your mind. That's an important process. Not something to be taken lightly, because you just fall victim to all ideas at that point, right? So, that's all I was doing. Was I successful? Absolutely not. She goes back and forth with this idea over and over again. Like, that's her response. These are dirty jobs. Dirty jobs. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if what I'm doing right now is a dirty job, but I can tell you one thing. If you're a woman out there and you want to do auto repair or small motor engine repair, get some gloves. Put on a onesie if you don't want to get dirty. But it's not the end of the world if you do. Okay? So, if anybody tells you otherwise, right, women, or anybody that identifies as other, right, don't let them stop you. Don't let this world contaminate your possibilities. Because at the end of the day, what we have is just many different ways to live our lives and many different ways to become the better of who we are. And people will try to stop you no matter what you do in life. There's going to be a lot of people trying to stop you. So, yeah, with that being said, we'll proceed. And don't let anybody stop you, okay? Great. The rope is what I've used in the past, but since I got this kit, I'm going to try this now. This is from that same kit. It just is supposed to slide in here and stop the piston from moving. There's two of them. I don't know which one's best. Alright, so the pull start back here. I'm going to put that back on. That is a 9/16. 9/16. Can you see that? Alright, that looks good. I bet you can. Okay, take a look. Alright, and we need to place this on here, like that. So that's good. So this stops it from sliding out. Okay, now this is threaded, so you can't really mess it up. That side's not. This side's threaded. That will sit onto here. Like that. That's on. Okay, so This is where you would place a drill to turn the engine over if you didn't want to do it with the pull start. Okay, so that is the engine turn-in, right? What I want to do before I proceed is I'm going to the mystery oil. Yes, don't forget. We need to lubricate the chamber a little bit just to make this a little smoother. So I'm just going to pour a little bit of mystery oil in there, just a little, and we'll turn it a little bit just to like get that nice and lubricated. Hear that sound? That's awesome. That's a lot of compression. Yeah, it's sucking my finger in. Push, suck, push. Okay, so we got a lot of compression on that. It's looking good. It turns quite nicely. Yeah, so that's good. That's a happy motor. Let's just get any leaks out of there. Okay, we are done that. This worked well. Let's place the flywheel on now. So to do that, we have a key that sits right in here. There's a wool trough key. We need to turn this motor so it is up. Okay, so that's that right there. And let's see, the key goes right in here. Can you see that? Yeah. Okay. The key looks like the top of a U, right? And you want the flat part like this. Can you see? See how it's shaped? Voila. That's useful. Right. Now the flat part's going to sit up. The curved part's going to sit inside of the okay. So that goes well. This flywheel has also a keyed marking right here, so you can get an idea that that lines up there. So I'm going to slide that on. You know, let me loosen that up. That's what I made a mistake on. Oh my goodness, no one told me. You left me hanging, everybody. You're probably like, oh, he's gonna have to loosen that up later. Let him learn. So keep these loose because we're going to set the air gap between the flywheel and you know, they've already got a magnetism for each other. Okay, I think I'm gonna go ahead and throw some lube on there, assembly lube. I'm just going to throw that in into there. If only I had the fingers of a 1-year-old. Come on. All right. So let's see how we get this on super smoothly without breaking anything. lined up. Looks good. And we need to set the air gap for that. The air gap is it's going to be, if you have a feeler gauge, I've noticed that it is, some of them come with this bronze one. I believe that is an important one because it's pretty much, though this is a 1/100th of an inch. So 0.010, 1/100th of an inch. And it's also 0.25 millimeters. So what you're going to do is slide this in between, but not with the magnet there. Let's do it without the magnet being there. Okay, so it'll move freely, but as soon as the magnet's there, it's going to grab it. So what I do, I go like that. Points here and here on the magneto that has that uses a lot of that uses a magnetic connection between the two spots to create a spark. So the magnet's it's an electromagnetic thing. It will speed up electrons. The magnet, that is, and the speeding up the electrons as the flywheel goes around will take the sped up electrons down this wire and give you what you see as a spark, which then will ignite the fuel air mixture that is inside of here. Right, the spark plug comes in, gets a charge, ignites the fuel air mixture that comes in from the carburetor over here, and that's where you get this as the flywheel comes around, it has momentum, so it keeps on moving the piston, and that momentum is enough for it to for the magnet to come around. It's enough for the magnet to come around again and create another spark. So this is how it keeps timing. You know, there's no like, you don't set the timing on these things. Not these two strokes anyway. Okay, so that's the air gap, and again it's 0.010 inches, 0.25 millimeters. All right, so that's on. Okay, there is a washer that goes here now. Now that washer, you need to worry about it. There's two of them that came off of this, but this washer here in particular is, you can't mess it up. It has a little bit of a concave, so you want famous last words, you can't mess it up. You shouldn't be able to mess it up because it should just slide down. Alright, let me think about it. I think I have a solution. Since this is putting up a bit of a fight. I think, right? It can go like this, maybe. 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 Yeah. We can throw a little bit of assembly lube on there. Have a little hard time getting past this here. I'm very certain that this is the correct washer. Again, be careful with this washer because it has the smoother curved part is going to stick up on top. Right? And show it to go like that. This thing, you just put a socket on it, like this. I don't know about that. The answer is no. It's not working. Let's take a look. I don't know. What are you thinking? Bigger socket? Because I want to make sure that it gets the clearance it needs. Sense. I don't know about that either. Let's see. Just even it out. Yeah. Yep, that's it. Just even it out. Smooth sailing all the way. Smooth sailing, yeah, looking good. Okay. That's good. So that sits nicely onto there. We now need to place the... I won't put that back on because, well, yeah, we should. I want to place the pull start back on or rewind, and that's what that looks like. That uses 4 bolts like these. So you can look at the thread. So we have 4 of those. Okay, and they are T20s. So the orientation of this is it's like, see those right there? These grab onto, the motor grabs onto there. You can feel it turn. Okay, so that's good. So we know we're in position. Okay. Grab one of those. Excellent. And when you screw this down, don't get too crazy because this is plastic you're screwing down onto. And you don't want to crack the plastic. Okay. You want to go across. Again, nothing too crazy because, like, we're not trying to crack the plastic on this. Make sure it's properly lined up. Okay. Let's see how that feels. Good. Alright, so that feels good. Let's go ahead and attach the exhaust. This is, it was a little on the dirty side, so I've been using this Isopropyl, it's 99%. Couldn't get it, 99% pure. I couldn't get it, I wonder what's in the other 1%. Anyway, non-isopropyl. There you go, that's what's in there. I had to order this. Remember, I couldn't get this gasket, so I'm just going to clean this off so I can reuse it. This cleans extremely well. All the grease and grime, just, it's amazing, to be honest with you. Okay. And this is a metal gasket. It has, so the orientation, you can see it there, but it has some wear. That's how you're going to know what to do when you put it back together. So, to me, because this protrudes, those protrude, see that a little? Like that. The screw holes, that is. It's very obvious that that went this way, like that. See? So, put that down. And we're going to use two of these two longer screws, bolts, I'm sorry. And that's what the heads look like. Yay. Right, and they have washers on them, just let you know. Okay. The orientation of this muffler is something like, sorry, the short sides are there. Wait, okay. Those two dented indents on the muffler go inside of that. So like this. Those holes are lined up. Take the screws here. Go team, go. Sorry about that, muffler. Come back. Right. Yeah. I'm tired of burning hot. Okay, so. Looks a little too, doesn't have a T20, I have a T27. Yeah, that's it. Let's put a T27. Okay. Looks like you can use a socket on there too. I wonder if it's, 5/16. Yeah, it's totally 5/16. Go the route of 5/16. It's easier. Okay. All right, good. So that's done. Pull starts on. Magneto's set. And we now need to get this carb rebuilt. Oh my god, there's so much more to go. So exciting. Alright, I gotta do a couple things. I went ahead too far and I didn't put the washer back. I kind of missed certain parts. So I'm gonna just jam this back in here just to immobilize the piston from moving so I can tighten some things down. Alright, so I should have placed some anti-seize on this flywheel before I tapped all that down. But anyway, now you know, so you won't do it. So I'm using anti-seize. And alright. Future mechanics will be happy. And that's a copper anti-seize. Okay, so with this, it has, let's see, I believe that goes on this spacer. So it's should be a spacer like that, and then this bigger washer. This is it's agnostic. The side it doesn't matter. Okay, that's there. Then we take the flywheel. Remember, it has an orientation, it has words written on it. So it says off. Okay. So if off is that way, I'm just going to turn it this way to get it screwed down. I have some channel locks. I'm just going to tighten this up with nothing too crazy. Okay, so that's on. Then we need to attach, see that super thin washer? It's very, very thin. It's going to go right there. A weird feeling I should use grease on there. Whatever. It's just, there's some anti-seize. The orientation of this, it's definitely an agnostic also. It doesn't seem to make or break anything. Clean it up. I wanted to tell you something I forgot. You can actually test. So what this clutch does, right, as it spins, it opens up like that. So in other words, the higher the revolution on the engine, this opens up. As it opens up, it grabs the outside of this using friction, and then it turns the shank, that long metal, flexible metal, I don't know what it's called, to transfer the circular motion into the blade, if you have a hard blade or a the trimmer wire. So you can check and see the clearance from here to here by just taking that off and put it on there and see if it actually if it has enough clearance. If it has too much clearance, if it has too much clearance, then it's obvious that this thing is worn down a good bit. So you might need to replace that. Also, the springs need to be very tight. If they are loose in any way, then you're not going to get the proper expansion and contraction. All right. Okay. So this is a T20. Yeah. It's like a T20 screw that never comes out of that. It's just stuck in there. I guess it could come out, but obviously it wasn't a part of it at one point. But the way it's designed right now, it stays. Was useful. Sarcasm intended. Anyway, so that you can use the tool that I got, or you can jam a piece of rope in there to keep this tight. All right. So at this point of the game, right, we can do a couple things. We could test and see if we have spark. That would be really nice to know before we proceed. And also, we obviously can check compression too. So yeah. So if you put your finger on top of this, where the piston is, you should feel suction in, push out. Yeah, and it does do that. It grabs, pulls in. If the air gap, so that's how you know you have compression on the engine. If the air gap is set correctly, once this flywheel turns, so when that turns, what ends up happening is the magnets will accelerate electrons. These electrons will create a spark that you'll be able to see. Yeah. So. Everything goes well, we should have spark. Turn this light off. Yep, lots of spark. See it? Can you see that? Maybe a shadow. Yeah, I'll cast a shadow on this. Okay, so Got lots of spark. We're doing well. We need to make sure now we take care of the fuel delivery. So let's just say this is a win so far. Okay. Let me break out for a little bit and I'll come back so I can just clean up the space. So this can be a very fun part of the project. At least I really enjoy it. This is the carburetor rebuild kit for the for this carburetor, this Zama carburetor. It's a Chinese carb. And I don't know if you can see it. Maybe too blurry. Yes, somewhere around there. It's clear enough. Anyway, it's in the description. It's an RB156. Yeah, 156. That's the kit. And then this is what comes in it. Alright. And, I'm gonna throw this in the ultrasonic cleaner. And go from there. So I have a good story for you about this kit. So I ordered this kit, and I ordered it about, let's say, 5 weeks ago, right, for this. And so I take those 2 screws off, and I was looking for it. I was just like, I knew I ordered it. I was like, this doesn't make any sense. I ordered this thing. So I'm getting upset at myself, and just, trying to figure out, where did I put this thing? Zoom in a little bit more. What's the point if you can't see it? So I'm so bent out of shape. I'm like, oh man, I don't know what's going on. Why is it not found anywhere? And I checked online to see my order, all my orders, and I realized, okay, I did order this thing. This thing has been ordered. So that's that. If you look closely, you see it's keyed right here. See that right there? That will line up right here with this hole. So I don't really have to panic too much about how to put that back on, because it's keyed like that. Okay. All right. Also, there are the 2 threaded places where the screws go in can only go one place. Hey, stay on the camera. Stay on frame. All right. So that's that. We'll put that in here. Okay. The next thing we want to do is let's take this top off, take the primer bulb off. Anyway, back to my story. So as I panicked, I started to think about this for a second. I have been doing this project, and I hopefully it'll come to fruit. I've kept all my plastic bags of any sort for the last 2.5 years. Every single piece of plastic bag that I've ever encountered through any sort of transaction that I've made, I've kept every single one of them. And I'm doing it because I want to show people how much plastic one person generates. That's me. I'm the only person in this home. And I've generated so much plastic waste. I mean, it's ridiculous. Right? And I just wanted people to see. Take a look at that. Just wanted to see what. Oh, this is the first set of screws that I took off. Much shorter. Those were holding the diaphragm on. But anyway, back to my story. So I kept it so that all the plastic, so I can show people. You know, I'll make a little blog about it. And it's, to be honest with you, it's alarming. And I mean, I'm trying my best not to use a lot of plastic by reusing plastic. So some of the plastic there's a lot of plastic that's not even there because I use it as my trash bag. I don't really have a lot of trash because I recycle a lot. Okay, so that holds the diaphragm. I mean the primer bulb. Okay, that goes there. Like that. And then underneath, we have ourselves another gasket. You see? So that gasket, try not to get in your way. Pull off. It's also keyed, so you don't have to worry about it too much. If you look closely, you'll see right here, there's 2 holes. So it's going to help you know where to put it. How to put it back. Okay. Bulb is free. That's that. And then we have the more gaskety like material. Yeah. Now these both of these feel really nice, so it's possible that it's not necessary. It wasn't necessary to replace this. But you know, if we're gonna rebuild it from scratch, we might as well, you know. Okay. Let's put that over here. Actually, why don't we just leave these out? Okay. So that's how we know what to do. Alright. Okay, that's going to go in the ultrasonic cleaner. Alright, so back to what I was saying. Now this thing here, you got to be careful with this thing. It's got a little spring in there. Let it go flying. And it sucks when you lose that thing. Trust me in this. And definitely someone else has been here too. If you look closely right here, that loser, whoever it was, like damn near stripped this thing out. So I decided to leave the handle on. But I'm going to rob you of a visual experience. I'm going to show you what I'm doing. See that Phillips right there? That's kind of stripped out. Right there? Okay. I'm going to unscrew that. And I'm going to unscrew that in that bucket back there. Because this spring here, this is spring loaded. There's a spring in there that likes to go flying out. Once that thing goes flying out, well, needless to say, you're not getting it back. Actually, there's another spring right there. So I don't know. Okay, cool. Maybe I won't do it in a bucket because I have an extra spring. Okay, never mind. Hope you're ready to enjoy it with me. All right. I think I'm savvy enough now to not get that spring out. Well, out as in like flying all over the place. So let's see how good I am. Or shall I say how much more improved I have become. Language seems way more accurate. Okay, here we go. So this is a stripped out Phillips. Let's see. Alright. That works. So keep your finger down on that because it's trying to explode right now. You know, just watch everything. My finger's holding it down. Okay, that's that screw. A little hard to see, super small. Okay. Alright, so over here now, right? I want to gently lift this up. Okay, there you go. So you see that spring right there? Yeah, I don't think you can see it, but oops. That thing likes to go flying out. You got to make sure you don't lose that thing. Okay, so at least if you're gonna rebuild it without a kit. So put that there. Take this spring, put that spring in here. Right. And there should be a needle right here. Yes. Come on. Okay. So that is the needle. Okay. Now you can, when the tip of these things, when the tip is not so sharp, that's how you know that the needle has failed or is failing. So you want to look at the tip of them. They just get dull over the years, and they just regulate fuel flow. Okay. So this is it. The carburetor is down to the metal. I could probably take the butterfly off. Could do that. Yeah, let me do that. Let me take the butterfly off also. So this butterfly is a, that's what I'm, can you see that? Okay, I'm pulling that out. Okay, so pop that out. It's a brass, very little screw. Okay, and this should just tap right out. See the butterfly? To just tap it right out. It's no longer attached. Okay, so that's that. It has a hole at the very top right here, and that hole was following this bar. Okay, so important to close up that hole. So in other words, it followed the bar. It wasn't just hanging out open. I don't know if that's you can also tell too because it has usage marks as in wear and tear. See that bar, that line? Tells you like the orientation of it. Alright, now what do I don't know or want to know or could know is, I wonder if that matters. Anyway, so we are down to just metal except for this plastic top. I'm going to bathe this in the ultrasonic cleaner. There's two flathead screws right here. I wonder what I can do with these. See them? Let me see if I can get those out and bathe those too. Okay. So those are out. Like that is a jet of some sort. Come on. So that ought to be fun. I think that might do a lot more than I think. So let's see if the other one looks the same, so we don't have any issues with which one belongs where, you know. Yes, they are identical. No, they're not. They're not identical. Okay, so let's see if we can get a nice close-up on this. Okay, this is the orientation it came out of. Okay, and yep, okay. It's a good thing I double-checked. I had a weird feeling. Okay, let's zoom down on the orientation of this. Don't fail me now. Okay, good. So you can see this is the carburetor here. And that's the orientation of the carburetor. Right? And on this side here, this has a longer part of the shaft right here past the screws. So, my light's in your eye probably. Right. This is the shorter side right here on this side. So it's good to know. So when we put it back, I don't get anything weird happening. Alright, that's it. It's pulled apart. I'm going to wash it, bathe it in the ultrasonic cleaner, and then bring it back. I'll put it back. That's my final choice on how I'm going to suspend the carburetor without having the plastic dip down inside of the actual carburetor fluid, carburetor cleaner fluid. Cool? Let's try to see how much we can do before I have to like stop and regroup. Alright, so I found out something. I did a little reading. This is going to control the idle speed, this longer one with the shaft here. And that goes on this side. So I'm going to have to readjust this carburetor once we put it back together. Okay, so let's go all the way down and back off 1.5. So that's all the way down. 1. Oops, so that's a half 1. That's what's 1 now. And then half. Okay, that's idle. This is going to be the main mixture. This is the other shaft. The shaft with a little bit smaller These two cleaned up quite nicely too, by the way, didn't they? Again, I'm going to do 1.5 back out, and we can adjust it once it starts. This is the main mixture. 1/2. Okay? Okay, with that set, let's take a look at this. So this has keys on it, remember I told you about that? And the this goes down first, and then the plasticky part goes on second. So the plasticky part does not touch the metal. Zama provides a diagram for this, so if you are ever confused, I'll show you a link to the file itself. Okay, so this is, I'm hoping that you can see everything here, because that's the point, right? I'll try to do it best I can. Alright, you saw me put the needle in, right here. So, needle goes in here. Okay, the spring sits right in that hole. That's that space right there. Okay. Then you take this piece here, right, and you slide the pin across. Right. Just remember, it has an indentation on that side. That sits on top of the spring. Okay. So put that back there, like that. And there's a very, 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 very small Phillips. I took off the gloves because I needed more dexterity to do this. You can see why. Ah, goodness. Come on. Now remember, you gotta slide this under the oops. Okay. This thing is itching to make my night really difficult here. Alright. This little hook here slides under . Oh my goodness, come on. Okay. Once you get that underneath the needle, don't do anything crazy and release your focus. There's a lot at stake here, people. You gotta get So that screw goes down. Oh my god. Can you see that? Okay. That screw goes down right in here. Like that. Okay? And that holds it all in place. So that can happen. Alright. Okay, here we go. So that goes on top of that. There's a better way to do this, isn't there? Instead of moving out, I move this. Like that, I think. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so now that's in place. Everything's lined up. Primer bulb on here. Okay, so that's pretty obvious because there's no other way it can actually get lined up. So we have 4 screws. I have a feeling did I miss something? Right, there's a gasket that goes. Okay, okay, never mind. I didn't forget. I'm doing good. So sure that go like that. Awesome. I was panicking for a moment because this requires a diaphragm. So I was just wondering, did I put that on? And so, yeah, so that's what I was panicking about. My other battery's going to die also again. This is horrible. Got to upgrade my camera situation. Anybody want to help out with that? Alright, so that's that. This is the original diaphragm that was in the carburetor. You can see my the new one that I ordered looks very different. Right, so let me check these. Excuse me. These holes, do they line up? Yeah, they do. So I'm gonna go ahead and move forward and see what we can do here. All right. So what happened? This goes on second, right? The orientation matters. So let's take a look at it so you can see. See, there's that on that side. Okay. Orientation does matter. All right. We're going to place this down, like here. See where it's keyed? So you can't really mess it up. That goes on first. And then this goes down, and this spaced goes down in here, like that. Okay. Got it. Make sure it's all lined up. Goes in like that, and I hope that works. Yeah, it looks good to me. Okay. Screw that in. I didn't bother to give you a closer look because you already saw what the inside looks like in the earlier video. In case you're wanting the orientation of everything. Come on. Hey, when it goes blurry on you. Okay, so that's that. The carb is done. Cool. Alright. I want to give you a little bit of a different perspective. So this thing is a pain in the butt. These are the usage marks in here, so I know that I need to line that up like this. If you look closely, right, it's like it's not going to go in, right? Oh yeah, well, you just work that thing. Just work it. You know what I mean? Just work it in there. Just get in there. Just looks like oh, the circle's not wide enough. Just get it in there. There it is. See? And that's. You see that? Yeah. Now that's it. You just take. Alright, the battery died back. So again, I was saying, just make sure when you do this that you are very gentle, because this is brass, and you don't want to strip it. So I think I can start it like that. Yeah. These shots are the hardest ones to get right because your hand is often just in the way. Shot. Come on, just catch. I turned it all the way this way so it can be as flat as possible. I'm hoping that would help me get started, but not so much. It's the one thing about doing these things, you're dexterity has got to be so on point. And patience too, lots of it. That's it. Now the carburetor's done. We need to get the springs right. So when I say that, right, this spring is good. It's just got all the tension. I'm sorry. There's all the tension from. Take a closer look. See, it snakes around right here. It snakes around right here. It comes around and it bumps up against that. Right? This side, on the other hand, has a spring. And I'm a little confused as to like what happened here. I don't know. I have no idea. Oh, I see. I gotcha. I think this goes in here. That's right. What do you think? Is that going there? Bro, that doesn't make any sense. Anyway, I'm confused. I have to think about this. Okay, where are the springs? Right? In your Zama Carb. That's the title of this. So hopefully Google will pick up the audio and figure it out. Okay, so right, come on. All right. So right here is a spring that wraps around. It goes from the top, right here. You see that? Hooks onto there, right? Wraps around this, and then the bottom part right here comes through and go to the back and pushes against that. And that's what gives the throttle that spring action loaded right there. Okay? Flip to the other side. This spring here right? This gives this that spring action. Holds on to there, comes through, right? So look at it again. So it's pushing against it on the outside. Comes through, around here. See that? Comes around and pushes against that. Oops, sorry. Like that. And then so we get this reaction. Cool? Alright. In case you run into problems, that's the springs. That's how they go. Good luck, everybody. Okay, this should be a separate video by itself. This is such a pain in the butt. Okay, where are the springs? Right? In your Zama Carb. That's the title of this. So hopefully Google will pick up the audio and figure it out. Okay, so right... come on. Alright. So right here is a spring that wraps around. It goes from the top, right here. You see that? Hooks onto there, right? Wraps around this, and then the bottom part right here, comes through and go to the back and pushes against that. And that's what gives the throttle that spring action loaded right there. Okay? Flip to the other side. This spring here right? This gives this that spring action. Pulls onto there, comes through, right? So look at it again. So it's pushing against it on the outside. Comes through, around here. See that? Comes around and pushes against that. Oops, sorry. Like that. And that's how we get this reaction. Cool? Alright. In case you run into problems, that's the swings. That's how they go. Good luck, everybody. I haven't done too many of these before, but let's see what we can do. Get some additional trimmer line. And it's gonna see. So this is called a bump head. Trying to counterclockwise. Take it off. Yeah. Okay. So that's that. Okay, so we want to make sure there's a spring in here. This has some line in it. So not really like it needs more line. Okay, never mind. So we have a good bit of line. Let's, whoever installed this chose to do single line out. Yeah, I want to change that. I'm going to change it to 2 lines. And to do that, okay. The reason why I want to do 2 lines, there's 2 holes right here. One there and one here. And I should be able to get 2 equal lines out. So that's not a lot to work with. Yeah, you know. Alright, it's not a lot. So it's about like 3.5 feet. I should probably put some more on there, but anyway, let's just see if we can figure this out. Okay. So there's 2 holes right here that if only I had a pressure washer, that would clean this by now. Okay. Take that, pull that through like this, okay. And then this has an orientation. And it has numbers on it also. Okay, I need to figure out the orientation to line this up. Let me look into that 1 second. I didn't see any arrows. I cleaned this off and wiped it all off. I had to look at the video itself and me taking it off. It looks like I was unwinding it the other way. So this is the orientation. I have 2 strings here. Oh, did I show you what happened? Sorry. Yes, I did. I think I did. Anyway, I fed this through evenly to both of those holes right there, and just kind of wind this up. The manual suggests 20 feet, right? And then holy particulates. Okay. This thing has holes right here, right? 0.95, 0.095, 0.085, right? And what you want to do is match this up. Right, so make sure you have the right feed diameter. So this is going to be a this looks like 0.95 to me. Yeah. So I have 0.95 on that side and 0.95 on this side. Okay. I'm guessing, by the way. It feels like that's the right size to me. And what you do is make sure you line these up. Now you're going to go through the eyelet like that. And you go through the other side, the other eyelet, like this. I have a feeling this is a 0.8. 0.08. Yeah, I think that's what that is. Let me just try real quick. Entertain me. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's the way to go. Okay, never mind. Okay, so that's that. We went to 0.8, 0.08. Okay. I'm going to feed this through the eyelets. And then feed it through the eyelet on the other side. Spring side down. Back through like this. Does that make sense? I hope so. I really, really hope so. I hope that makes sense. It doesn't feel right. Does not feel right. Boy, gotta think about it for... Yeah, I'm right. Okay, so... just gotta push that down. The bump knob. It's a square bolt, by the way. If you don't know what it looks like, it looks like that. It's square. It sits in here. that down. You want to pull on it, make sure it's released from those little like hooks to hold it in place. And there we go. As this turn, it should cut right off right here. Okay, cool. Alright, good. So that's that. I had to back this off a lot. This needs to be removed before you attach this part here. And that part sits. Once you slide this in, okay, you gotta, before you slide that in, sorry, you want to get this part on top. Oops, sorry. Like that, it sits on top of there. Like that. And then you slide that in. Okay, cool. So that's how that goes. And then there's two bolts with two washers. One's a lock washer and a flat washer. You kind of screw these two together. These are going to be T20s. So again, as you can see. Got it? Screw that down. Okay. Yep, that's it. That's good call. Let's just check the alignment on this. Don't worry, it's not lost. Ugh. Alright, just gotta, you can do it. Get in there. I'm going to make sure that the shaft is pushed into the that flexible, I don't know what you call it. Getting better with the names. Goes ratchet. Yeah. No, you don't. Man, I'm having a doozy. It's just one of those days, which is every day, which is a good day, never a bad day. What's your favorite saying when you're when someone asks you how you doing? Yeah, how's your day today? And I have a thing I say. So every day is a good day, as long as I'm above ground. That's my favorite day. I also said the same thing. Every day is a good day. If you're above ground, makes some feel special too, you know. Seriously, I've done this 4 times now. All right, 5th time's the right time? I don't know. Anyway, so that's connected. Yeah, can't even see it. That's connected. That's screwed down. But don't forget to put these back on. Let me get them onto the I'm sorry. Kill switch goes here. Aha. Come on. Kill switch. So you can see this kill switch back on. Connect that. Make sure the shaft slides in. Don't forget this wire here. You can't really see it. Hold on. This wire. Make sure it slides into the groove like that. Okay. Remember, you're trying to line up the engine block here. Hold on. Hold on. Okay. Good. Okay, so that's all lined up. These keys right here slide into spots so they'll know for sure. All right, let's just go ahead and I'll cut back in when I'm screwing it in from the front. Okay. So we have 4 T20 screws here. Got one in right here. Another one right here. Should have 2 more. Okay. Okay, so got that there. that's that. Alright, so we've got that back together finally, after the 5th try. And now, here's the carburetor. The carburetor sits like this. A few lines down here, primer up here. Now I got the new gasket for here. Now I'm thinking that if I go like that, let me see what you're seeing. So I'm gonna go like, see, here, like that. I'm gonna go like that, right? Because that's what it's supposed to be. But right here on this side, I think I'm gonna use the old gasket and put the old gasket right here too. You know? And I don't think I'm supposed to do that, but I have a feeling that it would be a good idea. Right. And so this sits like that. See, I wish I had something tacky, like in spray, to keep that in place. That uses these 2 long bolts. Yeah. So we'll slide it through like this. Slide the other one through like that. See? So it holds that in place. And then what I'll do... So again, I reuse the old gasket on this side. So you can see what I'm doing. Right. We know that this goes through like that. Here's the new gasket. And that should screw in like that. Yeah. Okay. Let's put the... Before I do that, let me see if I can... Let me get that in, so that way that won't be an issue. Yeah. Okay. Now these are, I had to use a flathead screwdriver for this. It looks like a T20 is also what these are. So T20 or flathead would work for this. Not too tight because it is plastic. Don't have the torque specs for these. So. Okay, that's just a vice grip to hold the cord out of the way so you can see. Okay, so we got that. Check the throttle. See that works. Okay. Alright, we need to get this attached to the body of the so air filter here. Okay, maybe we can do that. So I'm going to reuse the air filter. So this is the one. I washed this just to let you know. Some soapy water. Where's that go? Okay, there you go. And then take this, put this on here. Okay, so that's the air filter. Alright, so we need to attach this to the shaft of that. So I'll show you something. Right here on this side has the longer nut with the vinyl lock nut at the bottom down here. So what we want to do is push that through. Sorry, the bottom. Yeah, bottom. This is the bottom. And there's the vinyl lock nut at the end of it. Like that. Okay, and this is a T20. That's the bottom. I'll bring you around the front so you can see the other side. This bottom one's really tight already. The top part here, that might be a little bit of a challenge to get in because it's not really. I'm going to loosen up the bottom just a little bit more before I proceed. Alright, it's going to help me line up the top. The top again is this really short one right here. Let's see if I can get. Okay, that's good. That worked out much better than I thought. Tighten up the bottom again. Okay, so I'm just gonna test it. So we gotta take the rewind off to get this on, and then just like, yeah, I made a mistake. This is going to slide under the spark plug wire and onto it like that. Okay, that's on. And then this uses 3 of these. They're kind of coarse threaded. They look like that. Okay, so we have 3 of those, and those are T20s also. Okay. Yeah. At least I hope. As I have 3 of them, it's kind of sharp. Yeah, they're kind of sharp. Tipped. Alright, here we go. So put that in there. And again, this is a T20. Now don't over torque these because you're screwing into plastic, and it's a fast way to break the plastic if you over torque these. I don't have torque specs for you, so I'm sorry about that. And so you can see there's another one here. Why does that one not look right? That one looks way bigger than the others. I bet you that's because that's not the right one. All right. Yeah, I can see it. These are a little on the thinner side, so you'll know because it'll feel kind of tight to get it in. Not too tight because you're screwing into plastic. Right. So we have to put the rewind eye on, but there's a screw that goes right here. Well, not really. Just a rewind would be fine. I'm not going that way. So getting this lined up is going to be a little bit tricky. I can just feel it already. arms. Just pull that. There you go. Just pull it till it slides on. All right. We have 4 of these. Again, put that back on. Now, the last part is the fuel line. I hope that. Watch that be a little tricky, and I forget to do it in the right order. Gosh. Okay, so the rewind's on. We have one more thing, the last thing to put on this thing before it's done. How excited. Okay, so that's that. And fuel, and we're done. The fuel tank has, and this is flipped upside down. The green wire went to the green fuel line went to this line that's closest to the primer bulb, which is that line, and the other line went to the return went to the other hose that's further away from the primer bulb, and this slides into this like that. And lo and behold, there's only 2 screws left. These 2 are a little bit on the thicker side, thicker, and they have the sharp point. So they have the same coarse threadish like the other ones that we did to put the part on that we just did before. Why can't I remember? But these are pointed, so that's how you know they're different, and they're also a little bit wider in diameter. These look like maybe 225s. Yeah, these are 225s. Yes. So I was a little confused earlier about the shaft not spinning down there, and then I realized, oh, the clutch is so well lubricated that it doesn't even, it doesn't matter. It's not going to spin. The clutch is spinning, you know, because the clutch looks like this, right? Let's take that off. So the clutch looks like this. Back it off a little bit. And it has 2 half circles, like that, like I explained earlier, with springs attaching to the half circles. And as the centrifugal force increases, it expands and grabs this and then turns that. And then as you lay off of the circular momentum, as in like lay off the throttle, so you don't get a lot of like outwards circular momentum, circular centrifugal force, and then it will like retract in the springs, and then this won't spin anymore. So that shaft down there that attaches itself to the actual cut-in mechanism will stop spinning. Right now, remember in the past trimmers, when you lay off the clutch, lay off the gas, the throttle, that it kept on spinning. Oh, the reason why, it's because that spring that holds the clutch together and keeps it from expanding was not pulling in anymore. So that was the thing I learned. So that's cleaned, that's good, and I just wanted to explain that to you. So that's what that was about.